Today on Bike People, we're getting artsy. About bikes, that is.
And then an old vintage basket.
We learn all about ghost roads.
This is just before you go over the interstate.
And Suzette
You want me to pass?
turns up the speed. All that and more straight ahead on Bike People. Bike People is brought to you in part by the Des Moines Bicycle Collective promotes bicycling as a means of active transportation, wellness, and recreation in central Iowa. The Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, working to protect and restore Iowa's land, water, and wildlife. Bike Iowa, your source for Iowa bicycle rides, events, and news, connecting cycling with Iowa community since 2001.
My name is Forrest. I got my first bike at age 3, my next bike at age 7. I've ridden in Europe, Australia, and all across our great nation.
My name is Suzette. I'm a mom, TV personality,
I have no excuse.
and bike lover. I've known Forrest for years, from interviews, rides, and bike events.
Things up for Ragbar this year.
I'm in the bicycle business and a cycling enthusiast. I've been collecting, fixing, and selling bikes my whole life.
We love bikes and all the people, stories, and adventures around them.
We're on a journey to show you the world through 2 wheels.
To help you become
Bike People.
Welcome to Bike People. This week is all about bike culture and art. We meet up with Dan Koenig of ICHI Bike and Abby Durkee of My Alibi.
We also get to go on a bike ride around the bridges of Madison County with Brian Duffy, go to his studio and learn a little bit more about his artwork.
I absolutely love his artwork, and I also love these great bikes that Dan creates. ICHI Bike makes custom bikes for all of their customers, and I got to take a ride and speak with him on camera. So let's take a look at that. I'm with Dan from ICHI Bike. We're right here in Des Moines in the East Village, the coolest bike shop in town, maybe even in the country. Great to see you.
Great to see you.
You said you've been in this particular building for about 3 years, and somewhere else too, over in Beaverdale.
I was over in Beaverdale for like 5 months, but the whole shop was like 9 by 40. And so it was too small for a bike, which is kind of hence how I got my name ICHI Bike, which means one in Japanese.
I was already wondering about that.
It was kind of like, oh, well, my shop's only big enough for one bike, so I'll just call it one bike.
What a great name.
Yeah, ICHI Bike.
ICHI Bike. I just don't understand how you look at a bike and then transform it into something unbelievable. Like, how does that process work?
I would say, you know, a lot of my inspiration for a build really comes right down to the seat. Like, for some reason, like, that's the part that once I kind of get that down and how that seat's going to be on the bike, then I kind of build the whole rest of the bike around that. And so banana seats are just the coolest seat that's made. It gives you that opportunity to be back over the back wheel in a really comfortable, fun spot. It makes the ride a little bit squirrely, you know, and it makes it, you know, it just makes it exciting and immediately makes you feel like you're 9 years old.
And you do a lot of those seats. Most of them, you said, you make out of the skateboards. Where in the world did that idea come from?
Well, it's all in the kicktail. So a skateboard has this cool little kicktail, and a banana seat has that little spot in the back where it comes up. My parents, being in the antique furniture business, everything's always made out of wood. So the only way that I know how to translate the concept of upholstering something is with wood. So a skateboard is the perfect thing because it's wood, and I can blast a staple into it to hold the fabric, and that's what works.
Now, you've went one step further. You've done custom bikes, and now you're starting to do some electric.
Yeah, I was an accident. Totally didn't mean to do it. Just was, you know, in here one day, and a man came to visit me from California, from kind of where I lived, Marin County, San Francisco area. And he has a company called Yuba. And
I've heard of those, yeah.
Yuba cargo bikes he kind of brought one in for me to sample, and I cruised his bike and he rode on one of my bikes. As he was signing me up to get a couple of bikes, he said, oh, by the way, we have this in an electric assist version. And I thought, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Send me one.
So then you started doing it yourself, because why not?
Yeah, so I got hip to that, and then I started kind of exploring around and found a company out of the East Coast that makes electric bike kits that you can put kind of on any bike.
Oh, cool.
And started going for it.
Well, do we get to ride some bikes today?
We do?
All right, well, let's set up a few and try them out.
Okay.
This must be the sissy bar that you were talking about earlier.
Yes, that's it, in all its glory. Pretty much is about as tall as they come. They do get a little higher, but that one's pretty neat. It's got a great shape to it.
I love it. Banana seat, and then the, what are these called?
Ape-hangers.
Awesome. And this bike is from where? Or from when, I should say.
You know, somebody just drug it in, total like lawn ornament.
Wow.
And then I had to rip it apart and turn it into this. 1953 Schwinn,
Okay.
24-inch boys frame with a 1960s Springer from a crate bike.
Wow.
Interesting fact about this bike is that the rear tire is from the Gerald Sulky horse racing carts.
Wow.
So it's not really intended as a use for a bicycle, but it's got that great flat look like the old Stingrays had.
Super cool.
Awesome.
Well, this has to be one of my favorites of the day, definitely.
Yeah.
We've got the banana seat, the fringe. I mean, this is a very, very girl bike.
Well, kind of. It's just flashy. I feel very comfortable on this.
Fair enough.
On this pink bike. I love it. It's like it's a real beautiful deep raspberry pink. So it's not just like a fluff pink, but it's awesome. It's got a sweet little vintage basket on here. This is maybe the first ever Stingray penny farthing. It's like a mix of the two, the ape hangers, banana seat on a miniature penny farthing.
Wow, beautiful. This almost looks like a motorcycle, Dan. What do we got going on here?
This is almost, but it's still a bike.
Yeah.
It pedals great. It's really clean and smooth.
It's
and it has a
beautiful-
little electric assist that.
It looks a little dangerous,
Yeah,
too.
it's a lot of fun.
Woo!
All right. Now you ready to go?
I think so.
Okay. So the first thing to do with any electric bike, I think, is to be able to just ride it as a bicycle. First
Okay.
and foremost, it should be a bicycle. If it doesn't ride good as a bicycle, it's going to not ride good as an electric bike.
Okay.
The electric bike should just be something that enhances it, but doesn't necessarily make it. So you can just pedal this as a bike.
Okay.
Right here is your on-off switch. Here is your computer that tells you how fast you're
Sweet.
going, how much juice you have left in your battery. Right here is the throttle.
It moves, people.
Did you get that? Good, that was nice. Okay, so now it's on,
excuse me.
and you can turn it off or turn it
Okay.
on. I say just have it on,
Okay.
and but before you start with the throttle, kind of get going with it and just
Ride it
kind of
along.
ride. Yeah, yeah. I mean, after about 20 miles, you're good, but
Dan, thank you so much for having us down here today, getting to ride your awesome bike. I think you may have changed my mind. I've got a road bike, which I love, but the stability and the speed at which I can travel on that thing, absolutely awesome.
2 or 3 bikes is not unheard of for a person to own. So
Good point.
it'd be
Thank
my
you.
pleasure to hook you up with all kinds of crazy creations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzette.
Yeah.
Thank you, bike people, and rock and roll.
All right, well, we'll see you on the Tweed Ride for sure.
Okay.
Sometimes art and a biking lifestyle come together to bring an entirely new way to look at something. In this case, it's women's fashion. We found a great example of this in My Alibi, which is bridging the gap between fashion and function and letting women ride in style and comfort.
Well, I've known Abby for a long time. Her background includes mountain bike racing, and she's a great coach for some of the younger cyclists out there. We've had her speak on yoga and cycling at some of our women's
You don't want
events.
to arch your back
Well, I got a chance to sit down with her and learn a little bit more about her bike-centric lifestyle.
Great. Let's see the clip.
Well, hey there, I found it. Hi, Suzette. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see all of your artwork and come to your place.
Welcome. Let's go
Thank
check
you.
it out.
Thanks. This looks like a piece of art right
Oh,
here.
yeah. We just finished doing this mosaic table, my husband and I. A little extra bike for our household.
It is so well done. Look at that. It looks like the bottom of a coffee cup or a saucer right there.
Yeah.
The bike, hopefully everybody can see that. That's beautiful. And it's just amazing.
Thank
Goodness. Fantastic. I'm here with my friend Abby Durkee at her home to talk about her art, her life and family, and her bike-centric lifestyle. It's great to see you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, you know, you'd sent me some pictures of your artwork, and I knew right away that I wanted to come and talk to you. Obviously, you do so much for the biking world and for women of all levels of biking, and to find out that you're also an artist is absolutely fantastic. I'm thrilled to be here.
Thanks. Yeah, my art has definitely really been inspired by the bike, and I think it keeps me going with my bike lifestyle too. So,
Well, how did you start biking?
started biking. Well, I was definitely one of those early kids that was obsessed with my bike. So I can't really say I remember the first starting point, but the first bike was definitely a big influence. And then after high school, I found mountain biking, and that was where my passion really popped into it. I was actually in Des Moines when I discovered mountain biking.
Because of the mountainous areas that we
Yes,
have.
because it's so hilly here. I don't know, it was just mountain biking was getting kind of popular, and the guys I rode with, you know, kept me riding fast. And so
Sure.
after college, you know, I was able to leave and then get really fast at riding bikes, which took me into the racing scene. So.
Let's go back and talk about your first bike.
Okay.
And everybody seems to remember their first bike. I certainly do. His name's Stanley. It was a
Nice.
little blue bike, and then I even remember the next two as well. What do you remember about your first bike?
My first bike was, it was red and it had little flowers all over it with the banana seat, you know, the tassels, little basket on the front. It was called Mayflower. I just remember that it had Mayflower written on it. And recently I actually tried to find a picture of it because I was like, you know, there must be a picture. I was on my bike all the time. Not one in existence. So I actually painted a little painting of it recently.
Aw,
and I always had
that's
a
so cute.
bunny in the front basket because we had pet bunnies. So I would be
Oh,
riding
you had a
around-
live one.
Yeah,
Oh.
live bunny. Yeah, so I'd always be barefoot on my bike, you know, in my swimsuit with a bunny in the basket.
Sweet.
So I was kind of popular as a kid as the bike girl.
You're so diverse. I love all the artwork that I'm looking at and seeing right now. You also started a clothing line, My Alibi, and what's fantastic about that is not only is it beautifully designed, I own some of the bloomers, I've told you this before, and I love them. I almost exclusively wear those.
Nice.
And you're doing that now so that women, you know, of all levels of biking can hop on their bike and enjoy.
Yeah, it's really important to me to inspire other women to get on bikes. When I was racing, the fields of women were pretty small compared to the men, and you know, I was always curious why. And then one day after a race, I was in my spandex all dirty and slimy, and all I wanted to do was put on a skirt and lipstick. You know, I just felt all grimy. And this woman runs up to me, and she's like, obviously a fan and all excited. And she's like, if I only looked like you in spandex, then I'd ride a bike. And I said,
Oh no.
but like, I don't feel that great in spandex. I want to put my skirt back on. And so I realized at that moment that clothing's such a limiter for women.
Well, I noticed that a couple of your pieces do have a bike, your artwork that is, have some bike in it. How much of your artwork do you think is bike-centric or bike-focused?
Yeah, not so much. I mean, I'd say it's probably only like 20% of my work itself like tells the story of the bike, but so much of it is stuff that I've, you know, kind of seen on the bike, or it's a story that kind of came to me on the bike. There's just that connection. I think my brain kind of works that way. When I get on my bike, all the cool stuff comes out, you know, so.
Thank you for the conversation. I would love to see some more artwork, though.
All right, yeah, let's go look around. And you want to check out my office and see the bloomers?
Yes, of course.
All right, let's go. Here's my humble little office.
Oh, cool. Hey,
And the bloomers.
nice. These are the bloomers that I love so much.
Yeah, women around the world are starting to discover them. You know, they're just a nice padded short that goes under anything, so you can wear skirts or your yoga pants, even jeans on the bike.
Short shorts, that's why I love them so much. They, you know, really they're just as comfortable as the larger, bulkier bike short, but they're not. You can wear them under little things and still look like you're just, you know, going to the grocery store.
And it feels sexy too,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Well, it looks like you also have a little more, a few traditional things like the kit. We've got the regular bike short, but not. These are way cuter than most.
Yeah, I just wanted
Love
to
it.
create something that was more the spandex, what people are used to, so people could support the brand, but then still really feel feminine with it too.
That's right.
So.
Feel beautiful on a bike. It says it right there. There you go.
Might as
Look at
well,
those
right?
two. Yeah. Neat.
Of course, really the goal of my Alibi is to get more into the fashion conscious stuff, you know, creating little skirts like this and these pedal pusher
Love
pants.
them.
Stuff that's more street friendly and really flatters women, you know, so women don't have to feel like little boys in their bike clothes. So,
I bet there's a lot of women out there that are very happy with what you're doing.
yeah, I think so.
Abby, I'm so honored that you let me come to your home and see all your artwork and your fantastic bike clothing. There's one more painting I want to see though, and that's the one of the bike.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's go take a look. Cool. Is this the one you're talking about?
Yes, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that was definitely my race-inspired photo. Just I got to a point when I was like, okay, I'm fast, I'm gonna race. So,
And did you have a pink bike?
oh, that's my single speed. Yeah, that is the bike that I ride a lot. So,
Love it.
and you know that freedom of being on the bike, it just feels like the butterflies are carrying you. So, and all the guys always said, "You're pretty fast for a girl," and so it's called For a Girl.
Right there. Do you try to wear your clothes as much as possible when you're out and about? Abby, thank you so much for having me over. I loved it.
Yeah, it was nice to have you.
Yeah, well, we'll see you soon.
All right,
Thanks.
enjoy your ride.
Yeah, thanks.
One of Iowa's best-known artists and passionate bike riders is Brian Duffy. He's been a great friend for many, many years. We should get together and see how he combines biking and art.
Let's do it. You have real artwork on your bike. I mean, how many people can say?
Yeah, some of the artists actually, you can have them sign or not sign the bike when they paint it too. So Brian, being an artist, I mean, do you see things that really trip your trigger so you can go home and do some artwork? Or?
Yeah, I do. In fact, that's one of the things. If I'm not going out with friends on gravel roads and riding with them, where the pace is faster, you're not really looking, I'll go out by myself, and I'll take a camera along, or else I'll just take my iPhone along. I'll take pictures out there in the gravel roads, and in fact, I had a showing of some of my paintings that I call off the ghost roads in Iowa. And these are images that a majority of the people in this state or anyplace else have never seen before. And even if they lived along the route that I ride, they don't really pay much attention to them because I ride by so fast.
You go 50 miles an hour down a gravel road and it's a blur. You go 15 or 12, 15 miles an hour on your road bike and you can see things. You know, you can hear things, you can sense things. It's nice. That's what people like riding bikes. It's the greatest way to see things.
I see them, you know, there's something about the texture of it, maybe just the scent in the air will stop me, and I'll take a couple of pictures and go back and do watercolors of them.
Wow. Wow.
So we'd like to maybe take a look at some of the watercolors when
Definitely.
we get finished up.
Sure, I've got enough of them.
That'd be awesome. That'd be really cool. Well, what do you think? Should we do some more bike riding?
Awesome.
Yeah, this is a beautiful ranch. It's such a lovely setting here, and it's used for bringing in underprivileged kids and teaching them a lot of life skills through the responsibility of, horsemanship.
I've never been here. This is neat.
Well, it's changed a lot over the years. They built this real big barn here, the equestrian facility. They do a great job of bringing in a lot of underprivileged children and helping them out, giving them a wonderful week's vacation that they couldn't get any other way.
How many kids come here at any specific time?
No, I think it's over 100 kids at a time. Years ago, we actually gave them about a dozen mountain bikes to do mountain biking through here too.
Wow.
They're probably wore out by now, but it's just a great way for city kids to really see the rural nature and see really what the creation is all about here.
How many things have you done, pieces of artwork have you done with bikes?
With bikes?
Yeah. Have anything to do with biking or bike trails? Or...
I've done T-shirt designs, I've done illustrations, and now we have pedal art. So I've done posters for that for the last 3 years.
Sure.
The last one was on the High Trestle Bridge.
In fact, I bought that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
You come through the river valley, and then you climb up. And seeing that bridge lit up at night was what gave me the idea for that piece, because it's stunning. It's in the middle of really nowhere. It's just pitch black all around you, and then all of a sudden there's this illuminated bridge that's right in front of you. That when you're at a lower level, it looks like, you know, a spaceship. I'm sure there's a couple of UFO sightings that way, but it's another one of the features that Iowa has here, especially in cycling. That's pretty unique.
You know, I think we should let's come back to the ranch here and let's just explore the ranch when we have a little more time.
Let's
this
do
is a neat area.
I will definitely saddle up.
I like that.
I will. I grew up on a farm. Come on.
You should see her with spurs on the bike shoes. That's when she really sets it off nice.
I would be willing to.
Do you sell those things?
Yeah.
Titanium, right?
Titanium
Carbon
bike
fiber
spurs.
too?
I
Okay.
like it.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, it's a great day.
let's
Let's
do
go. Let's go head back and get some lunch and see if we can find some pie. It's always fun. Whenever we do a kind of a fun adventure, the next day Brian can caricature and cartoon the entire day and capture all the little stories and idiosyncrasies in that day. It's just it's a lot of fun. I've got some great cartoons on my walls that Brian has produced over the years. Hey Brian, thanks for inviting us to your new studio.
Yeah,
We're
this is great.
excited to see it. It's really beautiful. What a great setting. And I know that we were riding here not too long ago, and you said, "Hey, come on, let me show you some of the watercolors." So we kind of came to look at some watercolors.
You don't invite us and think we're not going to show up.
This is true, yeah. This one is one of my favorites. It was on it was a late fall day, and I can almost tell you, maybe it was about 30 degrees out. Very strong wind, and you know, the remnants of the crop of that year were tasseled and hung along the barbed wire there. And that's the first thing that I heard, is that I heard the whistling and the flapping of the husks and also of the leaves, dried out leaves on the barbed wire. After I picked up the sounds, I stopped, looked across, saw the images that I wanted, and the sky was just perfect. That's how the sky was at the time.
That's beautiful.
That's right off of the Raccoon River Trail, in between the turnoff for Dallas Center and going down into Adel. As I rode down there, I looked off to the left, and I saw these pieces of farm equipment that I'd never seen before. I really liked the texture of the rust on it. And the other thing that caught my eye was when I was looking at this, there was an old stone silo in the background where it had some breaks in the wooden top on it. So I wanted to put that in there as kind of a balance off of the distance there. This one is right on the edge of a gravel road that, Forrest, you would know this pretty well. This is Ashworth Road. This is just before you go over the interstate towards that small little white Methodist church. And I came down this gravel road one time, and nobody pays any attention to this little farm that's sitting there. And there are houses all over the place.
It's in the middle of town now.
It's in the middle of town now. The one thing that I'd noticed throughout all of this was, as I was riding along these gravel roads, how much has changed over the last, say, 40 years. It's almost like an entire culture is gone, because the buildings that I'll see out there, ones that are falling down, ones that nobody lives in anymore. And I've come up with a series of these paintings, and I call them Ghost Road series, because it's like a ghost town out there for miles. You know, you might see somebody's new house someplace, but a majority of what you see out there are old weathered buildings if they're standing up, but no people. And this is an old grain elevator. I believe it's either Sheldall or Slater. And again, it was later in the day. What caught me was the rusted roof lines on it, but also the shadows. I loved the shadows on here and down in here. It just jumped out at me.
Well, thank you so much for showing your paintings. I couldn't be happier.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Ryan, appreciate it. Awesome seeing your new studio.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's go take a look at some pieces out here. Maybe we can find Forrest some rhubarb pie someplace.
Now we're talking. Now we're getting something going.
This week we've seen some great examples of how people have combined their love of bikes and art, from cool bikes to cool clothes.
Just goes to show how cycling permeates our entire lifestyle, how it's so much fun, and why so many people love cycling. Next week is our holiday fun episode. What do we have planned for that?
Well, we dress up for the Tweed Ride, which is to honor veterans. And then we take part in Cranksgiving, which is a fundraiser around Thanksgiving. And we take a sneak peek at Jolly Holiday Lights, one of your favorites, on the Tour de Lights ride.
I love that ride. Don't forget, check us out on Facebook and our webpage.
And get on out there.
And become bike people.
In college, it was a nickname of mine, Alibi. Then it kind of stuck with me for a while. But then as I was riding my bike, I'd find that I was maybe always 5 minutes late. But if I just said, oh, I was on my bike, nobody cared, right? So suddenly my bike became my alibi. And so that's where the kind of name of the company grew
You realize how many people at home that are watching this are saying, I have to get a bike just so that I have a reason to be 5 minutes late.
Bike People is brought to you in part by the Des Moines Bicycle Collective promotes bicycling as a means of active transportation, wellness, and recreation in central Iowa. Bike Iowa, your source for Iowa bicycle rides, events, and news, connecting cycling with Iowa community since 2001.
Thanks for watching Bike People. For more about us, like our Facebook page and
Check out our website at www.bikepeople.tv.
subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bike People TV, all one word, for behind the scenes looks.